Something that comes up all the time is, well, what about college? I've been told that I should go to college. A lot of people tell you, you got to go to college to get a good career and a good job. Well, that's not true, first of all. You can probably get a very, very good, I'll tell you some stories in a moment to demonstrate it. But for some things, you do need to go to college. The problem is, and here's sort of a Shakespearean question, to go or not to go? That is the question. Should I go to college or not go to college? And a lot of people give you different advice on that, pros and cons to it. A lot of people say, well, you know, you go to college, that's wonderful, but you're going to incur a lot of debt unless your parents are rich and can pay for it. Well, I've got some advice for you. If you're interested in college, you think you might want to go, but you're not sure you want to go. You're not sure where you'd want to go or what you'd want to study, and you certainly are not ready to get into debt. You say, well, I really don't want to incur a lot of debt. Then here's what I recommend to you do. Pick out some college or university and go to that community where it's located, a college town, I call it, and land there and go and start working part-time. Remember, you've developed your $25 an hour skill. 20 hours a week, you'll be able to live pretty comfortably as a single person and go to the college town. And you're going to start having a lot of fun. Now, here's what you start doing. Start associating with college students. Go where they go. You know, go where they hang out. And you don't have to tell them. You say, I'm thinking of being a college student. I'm an independent student now. You know, I'm a polymath. I learn on my own, and I may go to college. You might even be able to audit some college classes. Different universities are different professors are different, but a lot of times you can sit in on a class and audit it and see what it's about. And so you can begin, but you can certainly participate in the college scene. So it's you're going to kind of have the fun of being a college student, but you're not going to be burdened with all the homework and all the things they have to do right off the bat. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to talk to students. And I will tell you something. First of all, you're going to be a little bit older because you already are kind of financially independent. You're probably 2 or 3 years older than out of high school. And students are going to really envy you. They're going to say, oh my goodness, you're financially independent. You're earning your own living already. You're making, oh, wow, that's something. And I'll tell you, that does something for you socially that's out of this world. If you've got a little more maturity and you're financially independent, that's a big deal. Now, let's suppose that you've been there for some period of time, at least a year, maybe 2 years. You've met some professors, you've audited some class, you've talked to a lot of students, you've thought about what you might want to do. Why would I want to go to college? Well, I know I want a certain credential that I have to go to college to get. I need a degree for it. Or I need some kind of specialized advanced training that I have to go to university to get. I can't just get it online. You know, maybe you want to go into biology or physics or whatever it might be. Well, you might be able to get a scholarship, and then away you go. If you can't get a scholarship, and a lot of times you can, I couldn't when I first started, as you'll see when you read my story, find a good state school or get a good state school that's got a relatively low in-state tuition. Almost every state has a good school in it, a state school with low in tuition, whether it's California, Indiana, Ohio, wherever it may be. And that's where you're going to go. Now, here's how you're going to do it. Let's suppose you decide you want to go to a certain school. I'm going to just pick out an example, University of Illinois in Champaign, Illinois. It's a really good school. In certain subjects, it's the best in the country. It's a leading school. And you're interested in some field, you decided and you want to go to that school. But you live in another state. So what are you going to do? Well, remember what I told you to do. Go there for a year, at least a year, and get to know them. While you're there, you're going to be work part-time for $25 an hour. You've already learned that. This is before you go there. And while you're there, then you're going to establish Illinois residency. By now, you're no doubt old enough to get a driver's license. So that's the first thing you want to do. Rent a place, live somewhere. You got a mailing address, get a driver's license. That establishes your residency. Now you're an Illinois resident. Anybody, you can be a resident of any state you want to. You just go there and live for a year, get a driver's license, established a residency, and you're a resident. Now, when you're ready to go to school, you're a resident, in-state tuition. And while you're doing that for the year, like I've already told you, you're enjoying life, you're getting to know professors and so on. Now, if you do that, you should be able to put yourself through college with part-time work. I'm assuming you didn't get a scholarship. Well, you're going to work 10, 15, 20 hours a week, $25 an hour. During vacations, you can work full-time. Well, do the math. You'll be able to easily put yourself through college with no debt doing that. I did it, and I know lots of people that have done it. Now, here's some advice for you. While you're there getting to know the school and you're auditing some classes, talking to students, talk to professors, go meet them, go ask them questions, go to their afternoon teas, go to some of their classes, audit some courses, and get to know some professors. And then what you want to do is, whatever field you want to get into, sign up for the advanced courses. The courses in most universities in a technical field don't really get deep till you get to about the junior level. That's what I call advanced course. The elementary courses have big classes in them, and usually they're taught by not by full professors, and they're not much fun usually. So enroll in the advanced classes. Now you might say, well, wait a minute, how can I do that? Well, remember, while you're there, before you've enrolled in the course, you're auditing some classes, you're meeting students, and you're going to meet some professors. Go meet them. I'll tell you, it's easier than you think. I'm just amazed by this. There's a psychology involved in this. Professors love a motivated student. They love a motivated student. So if you go and ask professors questions, if you're auditing their class, or even if you're not auditing it, you ask them questions. Go to the teas and talk to them. They have departmental teas open to anybody. There's places you can meet with them. And they'll love motivated students. Then what they'll do is they'll say, okay, you can take my advanced class. And if you need a waiver, they'll help you get it. I tell you, this is how I did. I ended up getting a PhD in mathematics in a university. And this is what I did. I befriended professors, and they liked me, and they respected me a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm not suggesting you go get a PhD. Very few people are going to do that. But just to give you an example, to get a PhD back when I did, only about 1 in 10 got it. And I wasn't that much smarter than my classmates, probably not any smarter. In fact, some of them were smarter than I was. But by befriending the professors and getting the psychology with them and getting them to like me and respect me. Here's one of the things I want to tell you. Now, you listen to this now. When you're talking to professors, always ask what I call good questions. Now, how do you do that? Well, that means you got to research it first. You got to study ahead. You got to find out what they're doing. Go to other students that have already had the course. Talk to them. And then when you visit professors, however you meet them, during office hours or departmental teas or whatever, you ask them good questions. If you've got what I call dumb questions, go to other students and ask them. You don't ask a professor a dumb question, only ask good questions. Like I said, I made a habit of doing that when I was a graduate student. I only asked good questions of a professor. And so the professors thought, oh, he's really smart because he asked good questions. That's how they judge it. That's going to impress them. And pretty soon, if you need a waiver to enroll in an advanced class, they'll give it to you. The professors run the schools, by the way, when it comes to that sort of thing. They rule the roost, I like to say. So if you want to take an advanced course, just go to the professor and say, I want to enroll in that class. I haven't had the prerequisite. I know that material. I want it to. And they'll say, okay, fine, take it. Good luck to you. And you'll find you can do that. As a matter of fact, you can take most of the basic courses in all the different subjects, scientific subjects, and you can learn those on your own pretty quick and easy. You don't need to actually pay and take a course in it. Now, what's going to probably happen is pretty quick you'll be able to get a scholarship. I have a grandson, and by the time he was a sophomore, he was on a very well-paid scholarship, fellowship, internship, working in a field of his chosen field. And so he was able to basically pay for his way through college then. He had in-state tuition and so on. Your goal, now remember, when you go to college, is to graduate with a degree, which is like a credential, and great recommendations in your chosen field. That's extremely important, great recommendations. And of course, you don't want any school debt. That's why you're doing it the way I'm telling you to. You won't have school debt. Now, from the time you graduate from high school to get your college degree, this is going to take you extra 2 or 3 years maybe, because especially if you didn't start to develop your skill for the $25 an hour until you graduated from high school, then it's going to take you 2 or 3 years. I must tell you, you can probably begin to develop that skill while you're in high school. Depends on what it is and where you live and who you know, but it doesn't matter. Look, and when you're young, 2 or 3 years seems like a long time, but let me tell you, when you're 40 years old, the first few years when you were in your early 20s, most people look back on them and they wasted a lot of them anyway. In fact, one of the worst things you could do is go to college, you're not really prepared for it, and you don't do well. get bad grades, and you get debt. I don't know of anything worse for you than to have not got the education that you were trying to get and run up a big debt. That's terrible. Well, what I'm telling you to do, you're going to get the education and no debt when you've got the education. Think how proud your family is going to be and you're going to be of yourself. It's going to be fantastic. Okay. Now, just compare this to a student that drops out of high school or maybe graduates but doesn't go on and develop a skill. I don't care what the minimum wage is. They keep talking about, well, we're going to raise the minimum wage. Well, I don't know if they ever will or not, but it won't matter. The minimum wage is never going to give you a good financial situation. Don't let anyone kid you. I'm trying to teach you like I treat my children, like I treat my grandchildren, like the people that look up to me. Forget the minimum wage. Any routine job that you can learn in a few days isn't going to pay very much. It might pay minimum wage, maybe a little better minimum wage, but so what? It's still not going to lead to much. And they don't, sometimes they do, but usually they don't lead to better jobs. And a lot of these jobs are disappearing all the time anyway. After all, smart machines are replacing them. We live in a new economy. In fact, we live in sort of a gig economy now, and people are, if you got a skill, you can make a lot of money doing your thing. When I say a lot of money, $25, $30 an hour doing your thing. But if you don't, you can't. You barely get by. And some people are working 2 or 3 low-paid jobs just to survive. Well, what a life is that? I'd rather work 20 hours a week and make $500 a week. We're talking 2020 now, 2021, and live in a modestly priced community. I'm not talking about New York City or San Francisco where it's extremely high priced. I'm talking about Indianapolis, Indiana, or Champaign, Illinois, or Oklahoma, or wherever. And these routine jobs aren't going to get it. And our economy is changing rapidly. Whatever skills you develop today, by the way, you're going to always be developing new skills. I will tell you right now, you're going to be learning to learn. In fact, when you learn to use this calculator and then you learn practical workforce math, you're going to be learning to learn. And that's what you're going to be doing the rest of your life. I have developed over the years, and I've been around a long time, but I've developed lots of skills that at one point in time were high-paying jobs, and then they became obsolete. There's all sorts of skills that, in fact, my children today, who are now in their 40s, are doing things that didn't even exist when they were students. So they're always upgrading their skill, and you build, take this skill, develop the new one, then the next one, then the next one. That's the world we live in. I will tell you this, life today in the United States and in many places in the world is going to be financially great for anyone that learns to learn and learns, and it does acquire a valuable skill. And then over your lifetime, more skills. Math is a universal language. It opens up many career paths. Now, I'm not talking about much of the math that's taught in schools today, which is obsolete, manual techniques, and you'll hear me talk all about that in other videos. I'm talking about, to start with, workforce math. And I might also tell you, if you decide you want to go into STEM, I will be telling you about courses that will take you into STEM much, much better than any of the standard courses today. In fact, there's a 6-tier program that'll take you all the way through calculus and differential equations while you're still in high school, and very quick and easy because of modern tools. And so I highly recommend you to get started ASAP. The way to start is to go to that website I showed you, Vastly Superior Math, and just do it. Now, that's essentially what I want to tell you on this video. And this is a PDF. It's an ebook. You can download it. I went ahead and I added a footnote to it. It's a rather lengthy footnote about who I am. And what I did is I told my story. And the reason I tell my story, no one can relive anyone else's life, but you can learn things from it that I learned. I was very lucky. I had some people that kind of taught me the things I'm teaching you a long, long, long time ago. That's why I was able to earn a good living, go to college, no debt, get into a professional career, go on. I've been a professor of mathematics, and you'll learn about my story, all the things I did. And it's designed for you to learn from it, not to try to duplicate it. Everybody's life is different. I have 3 children. One of them wanted to be a college professor, and she did. She went and got a PhD at the University of Illinois. Maybe that's why I use that example. And she got it, graduated with her PhD with no debt, and became a professor and a dean. Another child, a son, didn't want to be a professor. He wanted to go into the business world, but he wanted to go into the professional business world. So he got a professional business degree at the bachelor's level. And then he went to work for the world's largest consulting company and worked his way there up then. That got him in and developed skill. And he's a director today, doing great. I have a third son who decided he didn't want to even go to college. In fact, he wasn't even sure he wanted to graduate from high school. Very bright, but he wanted to go into business. And he did. And he now today is very successful in business. In fact, he's going to retire in his mid-40s. He's been that successful, and he does a lot of philanthropic work now. So education is a very funny thing. For some people, college is great. You got to do it. Some you got to go to grad school, get an advanced degree. Going to be a doctor, you got to get an MD. You want to be a lawyer, you got to get your JD, so on and so forth. Anyway, this is my story, and you might get inspired by it. I hope this video helps you. I hope that you, as a matter of fact, now will go on and follow my advice. You're going to go and you're going to get this book. Now, you can get it from Amazon for $14.99, but I will tell you this. You may be a member of a club, and clubs are able to get it wholesale and then resell it to you, and then they make some money on it. So if you're part of a club, buy it from the club. You still get access to all the videos. You're buying the entire program. Once you've gone through it, I will be teaching you. While you're going through that, which will only take you maybe 20, 25 hours, I'll be teaching you then how to get this training, which is the workforce math training. And I'll be teaching you how to get that very cost effectively and so forth. And then you're ready to go. And by the way, that's the foundation if you want to go into STEM. If you do want to go into STEM, I'm going to also then show you how to go up higher levels. We have tiers, we call them, and you're going to go through pre-calculus, calculus, differential equation. You're going to do all that while you're still in high school if you start soon enough. If you start studying this when you're 12 or 13 years old, you're going to be in really great shape by the time you are ready for college if you decide to go to college. So this is Dr. Dale. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to, and if you did and you take one of my courses, I'll see you on other videos, and we'll be communicating through the forum or via emails or whatever, and I hope you have a great life. So remember, invest in yourself.